Downfield was the venue for the 2014 Fairstone Scottish Amateur Championship. This tree-lined course may look green and lush, but the fairways and the greens were firm for the 256 players representing 142 clubs, all looking to get their hands on the coveted national title. The former open qualifying course was to prove a tough test, especially when the wind and rain arrived. Now here's Ewan Ferguson, a young man who's been picking up national titles on the junior circuit for the last 12 months, showing how accurate you need to be with both your driving and your approach play, coming from the bunker via the tree onto the green at the first. This was his second round match against Wayne Crowell, which he lost on the last. Last year's champion, here to defend his title, Xander Culverwell, showing a nice touch here on the 11th with his approach. The course not too dissimilar to Blair Gowrie, where he won his title last year. This was his fourth round tie against Kyle McClung. McClung with his birdie attempt at the par 3 12 here. And it was Kyle McClung who came out on top, 2-1, making it through to the fifth round, where he lost out to Josh Jamieson. One fourth round match that really caught the eye and the attention of a few spectators was the Battle of Blair Gowrie. Glenn Campbell, former winner of this title, with a nice approach on 11. Well, he found himself up against the current amateur champion, Bradley Neal, freshly back from playing in the Open down at Royal Liverpool. We came down to the 17th par 3. Not the best contact there from Bradley off the tee, but the contours worked for him, and that helped him see out a 2-1 victory against Glenn, moving through into the fifth round, where he was awaiting the winner of the tie between local man, Downfield member Stuart Smith, here with his approach at the par 5 11th, in his match against William Wood's Fraser Davern. And it was Davern who came out on top. His reward, of course, meeting the amateur champion in the fifth round. Bradley here with his approach at the par 5 14th, having eagled 2 of the last 3 holes. The par 5s were there for the taking when the weather was calm. But what do you do when your opponent gets 2 eagles out of 3? Well, Davern stepped up for this eagle putt to keep the match going, which he saw in a brave effort, but it was Bradley who came out on top, moving through to the quarter-finals, where his opponent was Josh Jamieson. Jamieson from the new club St Andrews had had some big victories on his way to the quarter-final, and he kept up his good form to make it through to the semis. Also in that quarter, Scottish internationalist Jack McDonald, rolling in a putt in his fifth round tie against Cameron Buist, which he would win on the last hole, making it through to the quarter-finals, where he would face a man very much in form, having won his last 2 tournaments. Robb from Meldrum House carried on his great form from the season, beating Jack 3-1, and also dispatching Josh Jamieson in the semi-final by 4-3 to make it through to the final on Saturday. In the other half of the draw, there was an intriguing tie in the fifth round. Barry Hume, who had won the title here in 2001, was up against youngster Connor Syme, who lost out to Bradley Neal in the semi-finals of the Amateur Championship over in Portrush. Hume had subsequently turned professional since winning the title here 13 years ago, but having been reinstated recently as an amateur, had his eyes on this title once again. A nice birdie 2 here from Syme on the par 3 6th. As it was, Hume won 4-3. Connor Syme can take some solace that that was one of the closer matches that Barry had been involved in that week, and he was looking good as the tournament progressed. Also in that half of the draw, in the first round, good friends and club mates, both from Craigielaw, Greg Smale and Grant Forrest, had been drawn to play each other. Here we see a marvellous approach shot at the par 4 5th from Greg, but it was Grant who came out on top, winning 4-3. Grant progressed, and in the fifth round met Craig Ross from Kirkhill. Craig had a great run in this tournament at Blair Gowrie last year, and we'll be hoping to do even better. And played some nice stuff. That his second shot at the par 5 7th in his match against Grant. But this was Grant's third. Ross couldn't see the eagle putt in. Forrest making sure of his birdie and also making sure of the victory, winning 2 in 1 to get himself through to the quarter-finals, where his opponent would be Graham Robertson from Glenbervie. This was Robertson's 5th round match against Matthew Clark from Kilmacombe. Clark rolling in a nice eagle putt at the 7th and enjoying a good run this year. Unfortunately for him though, Graham Robertson was really getting into his stride as the week went on. He beat Clark 4-2, then in the quarter-finals beat Grant Forrest at the 22nd hole before very impressively coming out on top against Barry Hume 6-4 in his semi-final. So as you would expect for this great tournament, 2 players bang in form making it through to the final. Meldrum House's Chris Robb versus Glenbervie's Graham Robertson. It was Robb to tee off first, and well, the weather had been fairly kind throughout the week. That wasn't the case on Saturday. Calm and dry enough as they teed off first thing in the morning, but the forecast predicted that wouldn't last, and so it was the case. Those more sensible in the crowd already had their brollies with them, but while it was still dry, we can pick the game up on the first fairway, and straight away a pattern emerged. Chris Robb was very impressive with his approach play. Here we see a nice long iron coming in to no more than 10-15 feet away. Robertson, who had taken the driver over the iron on the first, missed the bunkers and from the middle of the fairway played a nice approach, but not quite as close as Robb. The first 2 holes were halved. Robertson won the 3rd and 4th. Robb got 1 back on the 5th, and we join the match again on the par 3 6th, where Chris Robb played another impressive iron shot, this time from the tee, so no more than 4 foot away as the crowds moved up. He had this chance for a birdie 2 and to get the match back to all square. Nice stuff there from the man from Meldrum House. Recent winner, as we mentioned earlier, of the East of Scotland Open, as well as the Cameron Corbett Vase at Hags Castle. A similar looking course, although the fairways and greens are a little bit firmer here. As we rejoin the match on the 10th fairway, it's still all square, nothing to separate them. That is until Chris Robb played that great approach shot, sank the birdie putt and moved to 1 up. Down on the 11th, well, it's fair to say that both players were struggling a little in the conditions, but Robertson holing another good putt, just for a half though, to keep the match at 1. Chris Robb would win holes 12 and 13 though, to get 3 ahead of his opponent. As we join the match here on 16, the difference was now 2. Chris Robb had lost the 14th, and he was to lose the 16th as well after finding the trees with his drive. Graham Robertson with a nice approach onto the green to take the hole, and he was looking good to make things all square here on the par 3 17th. Chris Robb had to hold this for a half to keep 1 ahead, but a very, very nice putt, just dropping in the side door, and that was the difference after the morning session. 18 holes played, the brollies were out, 1 up to Chris Robb. Graham Robertson won at the 20th, so things were still all square as the golfers reached the 6th for the second time. Chris Robb birdied here early on and played a near identical tee shot to the one he played this morning. Again, he would see the putt in and take the lead once more after 24 holes. Down onto the 7th, 25th hole of the day, par 5, and Chris Robb, very nice second shot, setting up an eagle opportunity. He missed the eagle, but he did get his birdie, which was good enough to take the hole and move him 2 ahead. Up onto the 8th, 26th hole of the day, and again, 2 good drives from the golfers this time, but it was Chris Robb's approach play that was doing the damage. And once again, a marvellous shot that really had been a consistent factor during the match. Robb seemed to have the more opportunities through the day to win holes, whereas Robertson was fighting, scrambling to stay in them. A nice approach from him here though. On the 8th, both players facing birdie opportunities. Graham Robertson failed to hole his. Robb had this for a birdie to move 3 ahead, and in it went. All of a sudden, there was a little bit of daylight between the two golfers. Chris Robb 3 up with 10 holes to play, and Robertson looking to hit back straight away. Certainly didn't want to see that lead get any bigger. Robb struggled a little bit on the 9th, but Robertson, fantastic approach shot, meeting the approval of the crowds and the watching journalists. Yes, the best of the Scottish golfing press there. The hole went to Robertson. The gap was back to 2, 9 holes to play. And as we came up the 10th for the second time that day, Robb had to see that putt in for a half. Missing it, the gap was back to 1. And things very, very tight between these two quality players. Although as the rains came down, that wasn't a position that was set to last. Chris Robb won the 29th and the 30th holes to move 3 ahead. And here, the 31st hole, the 13th, par 5. Chris Robb once again with impressive approach play. That was his second, setting up a rather lengthy eagle opportunity. Graham Robertson had deflected off the trees, short of the bunker. This was his third. He couldn't convert that birdie putt though. Chris Robb did get his birdie, and he moved to 4 up with only 5 holes to play, and all of a sudden things looked ominous for the man from Glenbervie. Well, this was Robertson's second at the par 5 14th. And he played it nicely, catching the front of the green. No doubt thinking that if he could just sneak this hole, things might not look so bad, as the players and the wildlife took cover wherever they could from the now relentless wet weather. Chris Robb had taken 3 to get to the edge of the green, and was facing a tricky putt himself up the slope. Robertson would be looking to just get this close perhaps, rather than holing it. But it might have been wet weather, but here's an indication of just how slick and firm these greens were. Look at that ball roll down that slope, away back off the green. Neither player managed their birdie putt. The hole was halved in 5s. Robb 4 up with 4 to play. And here on the par 4 15th, Robertson knew that really nothing less than birdies all the way in would give him any chance of managing to take the title. Not a bad approach, but Robb had been safely on the green in 2. He had lagged his putt up. Not quite a gimme, but Robertson really needed to see this in to keep the match going. The birdie putt just rolling round to the left there. And Chris Robb had his first opportunity of the day to finish the job and take the national title. The shortest of putts, and it went. A 4-3 victory for Chris Robb, the 2014 Fairstone Scottish Amateur Champion. And after a quick word with the press and a few worries about his acceptance speech, we caught up with him to get his thoughts.
Feels awesome to be the champion. You know, it feels like I've been here for a couple of weeks now. I've played the course 10 times now or something, so it's been a long week, but very happy to come out on top at the end. You know, it was a well fought match this afternoon. I wouldn't say it was the best quality either of us has put out for the week, but I suppose it was well fought, and now it's a great feeling to be finished the winner.
It was a hard fought and well deserved victory, but Robertson must be disappointed after playing so well through the week, but perhaps not quite at his best for the final.
I was struggling. I wasn't playing great. I was kind of either a long birdie chance or an up and down for par.
And really, Graham had to be at his best against a man who has now won his last 3 tournaments.
Chris keeps getting better every year. Won the Scottish Amateur as well was a great effort. You know, definitely the future looks good for him.
Congratulations to Chris Robb, Fairstone Scottish Amateur Champion 2014.